The next thing we have to do here is we have to say background, of course, background. Okay, we then say linear, so we just say URL for now, and of course we are going with pic.jpg, yes, and I need background size, so it's a cover. Then I need background repeat, yes, background repeats, yes. I want to say no repeat, so what it means is that I don't want this to repeat itself. Okay, I don't want this background to repeat itself in case the picture is short, but in our case the picture is not short. If you're working with a picture that is not it is more vertical than horizontal, okay, it may repeat itself, so I don't want that. I just want it to cover the whole surface of that particular section I'm working on. Then I want to say maybe I'll give it a little filter. I want to say contrast, then I want to say 120%. Okay, then the next thing I have to do here is I must give it a height, of course, a height of 40 em. Okay, so that if I go refresh, I'm having a photo here, this particular photo. Okay, so I could just leave it this way. Okay, but I don't want to leave it this way. I don't want to leave it this way. Okay, I would rather that I give it another style. Okay, so this is the part where you take this photo, this particular photo here, to one of the tools like Photoshop, for instance, or GIMP. Okay, to give it more style before proceeding further. Okay, but I think my CSS properties will just do the work for me. So I just have to open up my script, and the next thing I want to do is I want to say to give it this style I'm talking about, I have to say linear gradient. Okay, then remember you have to put a comma here that separates this gradient from the URL. Then I want to say negative 134 degrees. Okay, then I want to say RGB. Okay, maybe I'll go with 000. It doesn't matter, I just want to, where I'm focused on is the alpha channel, this one right here. Okay, then I want to say 0%. Okay, then I want to also come down and bring another RGB. Okay, then I want to carefully select 64, 74, 74. Okay, so you don't have to select these values, you can go ahead and work with the values that suit your design. Okay, this is just an example, if you may. Okay, you could just go with the design that and the values that work for you. Then I want to come here, yes, and I want to give it a brightness, of course, brightness of, I want to say 140% for now. Then I want to also give it hue rotate. There's a value, if you may, called hue rotate or function, if I'm allowed. So I want to give it 24 degrees, yes. just dig DEGs. CSS, we know the name the rules. Okay, then I think I'm okay with the way things are at the moment. So if I should um, save this and see what I'm having at the moment. So you see that here is not that bright anymore. There is that fade out. Here is too bright compared to this side. So there is that fade out. Okay, there. Okay, so I will then proceed with my styling, of course, and I'll say there's another property called um, um, mask image. If I want to give a mask to my design, so before you use such mask image and so on and so forth, it's good to, there's a website called Can I Use. Okay, it's good to check them out and see whether you that is to see what the number of platforms, if you may, that such property that supports, or should I say number of platforms that support such property. Okay, so this image mask or mask image, if you may, I have to append prefix. It's called vendor prefix. Okay, there are different types. There is WebKit, there is Mozilla Firefox, there is O for Primary, and so forth. There is MS from Internet Explorer. Okay, these are engines. Okay, WebKit mask developed by Apple, I think. So I said WebKit itself, not mask. WebKit itself. So I'll say mask image. Then I want to say radial, of course, radial gradient. This one. Okay, so I'm going with ellipse. Okay, then I'm saying 60%. Then I'm saying 50%. So what this means is left and right. I'll use this to control the size from left to right. Then here from top to bottom. Okay, then at means the position where it will be placed. Okay, I could say 50%. Okay, then I could say 25%. Okay, so what this means is what it means is the position from left to right, then the position from top to bottom. So where my mask will be on top of the image. This is for top to bottom. Okay, so the more you increase it, the more it goes down. The more you reduce it, the more it comes up along the y-axis, here along the x-axis. Okay, then I'll just pick a random color here, RGB, and I will say, maybe I'll say 25, then I'll say 20 or 26 perhaps, then maybe I'll go with 26 again. Okay, then I'll say 40%, yes. Then I'll do a transparent, then I will say 150%. Okay, so I will use my semicolon. So I have to copy this and do the same here, except this time I will not be needing vendor prefix. It is called vendor prefix. Okay, do not forget that is WebKit. So another way to prefix is to use an auto prefixing. Okay, if you search it online, you will see CSS auto prefix or prefixer, if you know. So you copy your CSS into their engine, they will prefix this for you. They have their code well written to prefix all this. If you don't know what to prefix and when to prefix, okay, so you can just do that. It will work just fine for you. Okay, so another thing I have to do here is I have to give my mask a size. Okay, So we are here, of course, and we are making a good progress. So the next thing I have to do is I have to give, say, of course, remember the WebKit prefix, the vendor prefix. You don't necessarily have to put this. You could use a prefixer, like I said before. Okay, so one of the CSS engines online prefixers. Okay, you copy your code, your CSS styling into their engine, they will prefix it for you, then you copy it back into your work. I think it will be faster. But if you can, so I'm kind of if you're like, for instance, if I should remove this, okay, I think I'll get a behavior. My mask will not render properly on my Firefox. You see, although it's local, this is, it's not production. Although this is local, it still I will get a behavior. Okay, so that's just another thing to keep in mind. Okay, so as you're building your mask and you happen to get behavior, remember that you may have not prefixed. Okay, so let me go with 100%. Okay, and see what I will have if I should refresh. You see my mask is coming to me just fine. Now another reason why you may want to put a mask is if I should comment this out. Okay, because I don't know, sometimes it's a bit not it's a bit, I don't know, it depends on what you're looking at. So this line, you see that this line is too sharp here. See that it's too sharp. It is too sharp, you see. So I don't know if it works for you, it works for you. You see that some developers will push this div here, this container up, so that they will just kind of to cover this, just to give it more styling, push it up so that this guy and this guy will be here, maybe somewhere here. In most cases it looks good, yeah, but you can still fade this sharpness out. You can still fade it out, okay, with a mask. That's what we're trying to demonstrate, okay, using a mask. So you saw, let me comment, remove the comments, let me bring it back from being a comment or being commented out, if you mean. So if I have to refresh, you see that I've kind of carefully faded out that the sharp line. Okay, so now it kind of flows naturally. Okay, it adds more look, if you may, to what we are doing. Okay, so another thing to keep in mind, if you may, is that you can use a shape divider. Okay, just type in shape divider type shape divider into your search engine. I think maybe the first suggestion, yes, then it's quite easy to use. Okay, if you have a basic knowledge of how to position elements, I think you can be able to station your shapes properly from when you copy it from their website. So shape divider is quite good. It's another thing you can use to kind of add more style into this the sharp line that I just showed you, or use a mask to fade it out. Okay, so there are other ways you can still spend time on this mask and achieve something that may even look better than this. Okay, so but due to time, and of course this is tutorial, we have to move on and continue with other stylings. Okay, so the next thing that has to be brought to mind, if you may, is, of course, do not forget to copy this as well and remove the vendor. Okay, you have to do this so that the yellow line will just disappear. Okay, so I want to also say webkit mask, there is mask repeat. Okay, I don't want to repeat, so no repeat. Okay, then you have to also bring it down to remove the yellow line. Okay, so we have chosen height to be 40 em, so I would then do a position, then I will do a relative somewhere. Okay, I like to always position a relative, okay, because this particular container has children inside of it, so to be easy for me, in case I position any of its children absolute, okay, so that it will work just fine. Okay, in with respect to this parent. Okay, so that's another thing to keep in mind. Okay, if you position a child absolute, the parent has to be relative. Okay, so that you don't get weird behavior. If you keep it that way, definitely your design will not fall out. You will get the behavior you're looking for. So positioning is another thing to spend a little time on. Okay, so, and understand how to position an element. It's very important that you gain that knowledge. Okay, okay, the behavior you are looking for when you are positioning an element or a tag, okay, so that your design will come to you just fine. So if we then refresh this browser, okay, we see this. See, see, everything is coming to us just fine. Nothing is out of order at the moment. Everything makes so much sense at the very moment. Okay, so the next thing you could do is you could rotate hue. Okay, so by rotating hue, you are changing the color of the picture. Okay, so it's important to rotate hue to see if there is another color that will suit your design even more. So this is where I have to rotate my hue right here. Let me bring this down and give it a little push. Let me bring, this is my hue rotate, so I could say negative 24 degrees and see what changes. Okay, then I could say negative minus 124 or minus 224. Okay, then I could say yes, or I could just say negative 224 or maybe 324. Okay, to see what I'm looking at. So you notice that as I'm rotating my hue, the color of this picture right here is changing. Okay, so if I remove the negative, let me see what I have. Yeah, you see things are just, and it's affecting the color of the children. So this is a parent tag right here that has the background image of this big photo, this big camera we are looking at. So I could say negative 204. Okay, you see it's turned this to green, but I can't work with green. I don't, I'm not sure I've ever worked with, unless perhaps it's someone's logo maybe and they insist that it has to be green, then it's a different case altogether. So I have to maybe return it back to 24 because I think I'm okay with this 24. degrees I have here. Okay, so I have one could agree that this does not look bad at all. So you could having just text here and here, and maybe something here that a user can click on and go to another page. Okay, so it's the design is not bad, but we want to kind of drive home this design using photos. Okay, so there are the tags we are targeting, of course. So we are targeting this one right here, then we are targeting this one, yes, as well. So the first thing we have to do is we say border to see where this tag is actually. Remember, if you want to inspect a tag, you give it a border to see the height, the width, so that it will be visible in your eyes. See, this is the border I'm looking for. Okay, so I could give it a height a little bit, a height of maybe I'll say height of 20 em. Okay, then something like this. I think I'm okay with this size for my photo. Okay, so this guy right here will be holding my photo. Okay, just fine. Okay, so I could then say um I could then say I could then say um I could first position it. Okay, because I'll be having other tags in it. Okay, because it's a parent tag, it has children in it, so it's good to give it a relative, so that when I give any of the children, when I position any of the children absolute, it makes sense. They don't fall out of this parent's tag. Okay, whatever move or change or behavior they show, it has to be within this parent tag because I've positioned the relative. Okay, so they are showing the behavior when you position it absolute, when you position a child absolute and the parent is relative. So whatever behavior the child exhibits will be in respect to the parent. It won't fall off to an outer parent. No. So that's something else you have to keep in mind. Okay, as you're doing your positioning is one of the techniques that you as a developer, you need to keep in mind and have a good understanding of. Okay, because if you understand and capture the details within positioning of an element and the things that need to be known, I think it gives you more comfort as you go about your design. So I have to give it a background at this point. Okay, background, and I want to say URL. Okay, then I want to say pic2.jpg. Okay, then I want to say background size, of course, of I want to give it cover. So now remember, you can say background image here, things will still be fine, but I like to use background, okay, because it's more generic. Also, if I'm assigning color, giving a background color, I use background as well. If I'm using image, I use background as well. Okay, so it's more generic, and since I've been doing it this way, I haven't seen any behavior. So if there is any behavior, I would have mentioned it, so but I have not. Okay, for the past years I've been working with background, I haven't seen any behavior that will suggest that I should stop using it this way. Okay, so but if you have been working with background and you believe there is a behavior, okay, just point it out and let's look into it. Okay, then I want to say background repeat. I don't want to repeat this. I say no repeat. Okay, then I want to say filter. Okay, it's let's just see it first before we advance. Okay, You see, so this is the image, of course. Okay, so this right here is the child. This child is positioned absolute. Okay, if we inspect it, see the child here. Okay, I think this one right here, because this is the parent and this is the child. It is positioned absolutely. Okay, so I gave it top of 0 em. That's why it's starting from top. If I should say bottom, then it will return back to, if I say bottom for instance, it will come down to bottom. See, it's now here. See? But I don't want it here, I want it to be at the top. Okay, so if I should remove this position relative, you see that it will leave this parent and go somewhere else. It's no more here. So the behavior, the position absolute is no more with respect to this parent right here. So I think it's somewhere here. You see, it's somewhere here. So I don't want that. So that's why it's important, if you position a child absolute, the parent has to be relative. It's very important to know this. Okay, very important, especially if you're doing your positioning, so that things don't fall off. Okay, so I'll proceed to remove this red border right here because it's no longer working for me at the moment. So I have to say, I comment it out. Okay, then I think I'm good with what I'm looking at the moment. Okay, so things are coming to me just fine. Okay, so so this is it. Okay, so another thing I want to do is I want to give this parent a box shadow. There is a property called box shadow. Okay, so to kind of give it more, add more should I say originality, if you may, to it. Okay, so when you look at it, it looks more original. So I will say 1 pixel, 1 pixel, 20 pixel, and 1 pixel. Then I'm going with 66666. Okay, so if I should so this is what I'm talking about. Okay, so you can play around with these things. If I say 20 right here, you see that the shadow will move. See, the first one in most cases is to position the shadow either left or right. See, so now it's here. Okay, but I don't like it that way. It's as if the sun is somewhere here. So if you go with this, that means the one that will be here has to have that same position so that it will look more original. So it looks as if the light is coming from the source is here, so the shadow is here. But I want the shadow to be under, so I have to just go with 1 pixel. In most cases I go with 1 pixel. This one is that is how widespread. If I say to how widespread you want the shadow to be, you see, it will be more solid, if you may see. It's more solid, it's not spread out too much anymore. So if this is good for you, it's good for you. Okay, but in most cases I like to increase the value, okay, so that it looks as if there is enough space in between that element and the surface under it, just like this. Okay, I think this is good for me. So it's about playing around with it and knowing what works for you. Okay, this works for me at the moment. So I will then proceed to give it a filter. Okay, filter adds, just like you filter your photo. Okay, filter adds more quality to the picture. Okay, so if I give it a filter of 120%, that is contrast. Okay, so this is it. I think I'm okay at the moment with this particular design right here. So I will proceed to work on this particular photo here as well, because there's another photo here. Okay, I'll work on it. So what I will be doing is I will find the parent. Of course, the parent is somewhere here. Yes, so I will look it up. So this is the parent we want to tag, we want to style. Okay, so if I say border, like I said before, I'll first give a border to know the current behavior, where the div is. Okay, it's already here. Okay, it is already here. You see, so I have to give it a height. Okay, I want the height to be the same as this height as well, so it makes sense. Okay, so I'll go also with height of 20 em. So if you don't know the difference between m and rem, we recommend you find our previous videos, yes, where we cleared the two basic out of the way. Okay, where we discussed and explained the difference. Okay, or you can just look it up and see if it works for you that way. Okay, but if you are the type who learns by visual contact, if I'm allowed, there are those that tell you that reading it takes time. They rather watch the video. So if you are the type, you get our video and see where we explained it with examples. Okay, where we show the behavior between these two. Okay, as you increase the font, what changes. Okay, we have done that. You go to our Facebook page, or you could go to our YouTube channel or Rumble to see it. Okay, so I'm giving it a height of 20 em. Okay, em is the size of, let's say, the width, if you may, of the letter M. Okay, so but let's not go into it. I think it's a typographic field, if you may. Okay, so I like this height at the moment. It's good for me. Okay, so the next thing I have to do is I have to do a position relative. So remember, the reason why I'm giving this parent relatives is because I have a child. It has a child, this, and I'll be positioning it absolute. Okay, if you do parent relative, you have to, the child, it's not a must that the child will be absolute, but in case you want to position the child absolute, okay, the parent has to be relative. Okay, you have to remember this. It's very important when you are positioning. Okay, so if I say background URL, yes, I have to give it, I have to work with background, then background URL, yes, then I want to go with pic 4. Already I have my pictures, okay, in my folder. Okay, my working folder. These are my pictures. Okay, so you don't necessarily have to use the exact picture I'm working with. So it could be string, or you could just leave it the way it is, this way, or you just put it as a string. It will still work. So I want to say background repeat. I don't want to repeat it, so I'll say no repeat. So I want to say background size. I want to say cover. Okay, if I then let me filter it at once so that I will just look it up as soon as I'm done. So if I look it up and see what I have at the moment, so you see that this discover right here is here. Okay, and it has this, you see that it has this animation. So if you hover over it, it gives you the animation. So it is from here actually. Okay, it is from here. Yes, I just have to find it. It is from here, this child right here. Okay, you see, So this is discover. See that it is also positioned absolute here. So you see that it is also positioned absolute. Okay, then the parent is relative. Okay, in this case bottom is 1 em, right is 0. Okay, it doesn't have left. If you give it left, it will stretch. It will stretch and come here. We don't want that, so we want it to just stop here. Okay, okay, so I think that's it. Okay, I think that's it. So I have to proceed to remove this red border right here. Okay, so I have to say, I have to come here and remove this red border. Okay, right here. Okay, I should refresh and the red border is gone. Okay, so but I'm not done at the moment because I want to give this another box shadow. Okay, I want to give it a box shadow, and the red background, the red border I added to it, I could also bring it back, and instead of thin I could go with 1.3 em. Okay, then I want to give it a box shadow. I want to say 1 pixel, 1 pixel, 20 pixel, 1 pixel, hash the same value. Yes, right, not 99666. Okay, 66666. Okay, so something like this will be fine for me. Okay, so this right here works just fine. Okay, so that is it. Okay, then I don't think there's any other stress to it. Okay, so you could remove this text right here. Okay, but you know it's important you don't, because you want here and here to kind of align, to be on the same line. If you should remove it, here is a bit empty. It's as if this is taller than this place. Okay, there is another way you can adjust that. You can increase the height of this photo to somewhere here. Okay, and remove this text if you wish to. Okay, say for instance, if the owner of this website does not supply, if you may, enough text. Okay, so to adjust this, you can just remove this text right here and increase the size of this photo. Just increase it. Okay, so that it will make sense, so that this space here will be removed. Okay, so that's how this section was created, was designed. Okay, so we will now proceed to show you how this particular section was created as well. Okay, it's a step-by-step tutorial. Okay, so that you get the hang of it. All right, so looking at this section right here, okay, it's not, there's no big deal to it, if you may. Okay, this is just a parent. Just if you go to a website, a non-developer is just seeing photos and stuff, but you are seeing the design. You're asking yourself, how did this guy do this or do that? is there a challenge to this or that? Okay, so looking at this, let's start here. For instance, so there's not, you see that there is nothing hard to it. Okay, whatever this guy did here is not, he just added a box shadow, and the guy happens to be me. Yes, I added a box shadow. Okay, it's just a parent, and I gave it just a padding. Okay, then I increased the font size of this. Okay, then I gave this letter spacing, just to kind of, you know, space them out a little bit. Okay, to give them more should I say, room, if you may. Okay, then this, what you're looking at here, you're looking at 3 tags, if you make 3 div tags in a parent tag. Okay, let's just analyze it before we start explaining further what we did here. Let's go to that one. This is the unique I'm talking about. Okay, okay, I did give this box shadow. If you come here, I gave it a box shadow. It doesn't even have much styling, just a box shadow. Okay, then a padding of 2 em. Then I gave it a little margin bottom of 4 em. Then I aligned the text. That's all. So that's what you're looking at here. That's all. That's how I got here. Okay, so I had to select a color that is very, very light, like this one right here, somewhere here, or you can bring it up a little bit to even make it lighter. Yes, so that it looks a bit original. Okay, to the naked eyes. Okay, so this one right here is the one that someone who is still new to using a div tag may find hard to position, maybe. But what is happening here, these are 3 div tags, 1 2 3, within a parent tag, a parent div tag. Okay, and the parent div tag is or was flexed. Okay, so that's just what's happening here, guys. So if we inspect it closer, this is it here, this guy. So these are the 3 tags that I talked about, 1 2 and 3. Okay, then this is the parent. Let me give it a border. Okay, so that it will make sense to you. Okay, so if I find it somewhere here, you see, this is the parent. Okay, then let me give the children their own tags so that things will start coming to you just fine. Okay, so there is nothing to worry about. Okay, there is no you see, so I hope at this point it's making sense. So the blue one is the parent tag, then the red ones are the children, the 3 direct children. That's why we had to use this greater than equal greater than symbol, sorry, to indicate that we are only targeting the direct children. Okay, so if there is a div within the direct children, do not target it, just target the direct children. That's what this greater than is. Okay, so we did a flex right here. Display is a class that I established in my style sheet. So, and it holds a property display flex. Okay, so each time I give a tag this class, it means I want to flex the particular div. So these are the properties that are relevant to this particular div. Okay, so I'm doing a justify content space around. Okay, so that there, you see these spaces here. Okay, so you could just pause here and maybe take a screenshot, maybe, or pause it and insert these values, okay, in your own and see what changes. Okay, so let me just open it for you so that and scroll down so that you will get a look-see. Okay, you see this is the first one. Okay, this is the second one. Let me close this so that you can see it properly. Then this is the third one, the third div. Okay, right here. Okay, so coming to their styling, you can say this is the first one, my pick. Okay, so I'm giving it a background, of course. Then background size, we've done it before. Then background repeats, no repeats. Then we filter, remember the filter to add more quality to the photo. Then I'm giving them height of 5 em. Okay, then I'm positioning them relative. Okay, you know why you do a position relative, although you see this is the parent, the red one right here, the one we are focusing on at the very moment. No, we are working with this at the moment. Okay, this is the one that has the photo. Okay, right here, this one has the photo. So but I had to position it relative in case I'll be having any child in it, or in case I want to just move it up and down without affecting other elements. Okay, that's another reason why you can or you should position relative. So you don't have to say margin top, you just have to say top or bottom. Okay, stuff like that, so that the particular element will move without influencing other elements. Okay, so then I'm giving it a shadow right here. You see, although I could remove the shadow if I wanted, but just leave it that way, it's not bad. So another thing you can do is, if it works for you, it works for you. You could come here, and you could remove this right here, remove this, these are the three of them. Yes, remove this. Then you could come right here. Okay, and here you could do a background. You could say color, or you just do a background, you do a white. Okay, then you could see what you're looking at. Okay, to see this, it turned white really, but to see this you have to reduce the background color of the border, the entire body. So I could just come here and say background of hash, something like this, and see what I'm using. It's white, something like this. You could, okay, I think if, but this is just an example of another way you could style this that may work for you perhaps. So you could remove this right here, you could also remove this right here, then and see what you're looking at. So if this works for you, I suppose it works for you. So you notice that some things are, so I can just proceed to give this right here the background, okay, of white. But this will kind of take our design to a different we are headed towards different design altogether. Okay, it's not our original design, because you remember to give a padding here, okay, so that it will make sense. So this could work if you're the type that does not like white background, you want to use something gray. So it will be proper to kind of give this a background color of white. Okay, so we have to just return back to our original design, of course, right here. so we don't derail too much. So the idea here is to um kind of, so this is it. Okay, so that's one of the advantages of um first of all giving your work a border, okay, and assign different colors. Okay, it helps you to inspect the behavior of your design, to understand what is happening, the width, the height of your design, what is not right. The user will not see these things, okay, they don't have to. You the developer, you should, you are the one that should see it, okay, because it makes you the builder. Just like those who build houses, okay, they first have to use sticks, some will use some other materials to reinforce the building before they start adding the necessary components like the before they start to plaster and all that. Okay, so there are the supporting materials that they first have to install before. Okay, some the painters as well, some of them will have to climb on it, sit on it, and keep their paint on it and paint from there. So it's just how the building process works. Okay, when they are done with the building, they remove it, so it doesn't have to stay there forever. So that's what this is kind of. So it's the building process. When you are done with checking and building and everything is in order, you remove it. Okay, so we are looking at 3 tags like I mentioned. Now within each direct child there are 3 divs, 1, 2, 3. They are not flexed, of course, because div is a block level element. So the behavior, what that means is that it doesn't flow with the text, or it doesn't flow in line. So like I have a div here, the first div, I'm placing another div, so you see that this one is coming under this one. It's not here. You see that this text also is under this one, so that's what it means by block level. So it goes under the other div. Okay, if it were to be spanned, you see that it will flow in line, one will not come under. Okay, it will start making sense as you develop. Just like this, we're out there and I'm having a text. You see this here is under this. Okay, that's what I mean by block level. Okay, span, for instance, another I tag, anchor tag, I think, yes, and so on. There are a lot of them out there that are inline. Okay, they flow inline. Okay, but the heading tags h1 to h6, they are block as well. Okay, so it's good to know these as you advance, because it will help you tackle the behaviors you will definitely be encountering as you design your website. Okay, so I have to quickly comment this out as we proceed. Okay, so there is nothing here to worry about. Okay, it's just the normal border given to it. Okay, so I have to comment this out, and then I have to comment this out. Okay, so things are coming together just fine. So coming here, this is quite easy and quite simple. Okay, so it's just a div whose children were centered, aligned text center. Okay, so their children were centered, so there's a property called align text. Okay, you do a sentence, just the same thing we did here. Okay, there is a parent tag here, so if we inspect it as well, okay, if we inspect it somewhere here, okay, now remember, you don't necessarily have to use this footer section and so forth. Okay, but if you must, try and use them. but there are rules involved in using these tags. Okay, you can't have a header inside a header. It doesn't make sense to have a header inside a header. Okay, you can have a section within a section. Okay, those one may argue, but we have subheader. Is it not a header inside a header? No, it's not. This is a different context. Okay, you have to not have this header inside another header. Okay, now you ask yourself, does it make sense to have a footer inside a footer? It's already a footer. Okay, but if you believe there is a situation where you want to have a footer within a footer, perhaps you know what you are trying to achieve. But I myself, I wouldn't put a footer inside a footer. Okay, but I can put a footer in a section. Yes. Okay, because it makes sense. A section should have a footer, or could have a footer. So and they are all block level elements. Okay, they are all block level elements. Okay, so you have to decide. You don't necessarily have to use them. Okay, you can just proceed with your div tag and continue with your design with such ease. You don't necessarily have to use them. Okay, so it's entirely up to you what you want to achieve here. Okay, so I had to clear it out of the way so that as you proceed, things will be making sense even more to you. So this is what I'm talking about. If I should inspect this right here, so this is the main parent with that has the photo. Okay, this photo right here. Okay, then this is the direct child. Okay, right here, this is the direct child right here, and of course I have two. Okay, something is not right. I have an ID here that is unique parent div, and I have an ID here, unique parent div. You can't do this. Okay, you must since I'm working with an ID, the name has to be unique. Okay, so but what I'll do now, I'll give it a class. Okay, to work with the same name tag, you have to use a class. Okay, a class selector. You cannot use an ID. That's why it's called an ID. It has to be unique. Okay, for each element it has to be unique. But if you don't want it to be unique, if you must use the same name for a selector, it has to be a class. Okay, so that I will come here and change it. It doesn't have to be hash anymore. It will now be a dot. Okay, that's how you target or work with class selectors. Okay, just have to do this. Okay, I think I'm good at the moment. So if I should save it and check to make sure that nothing is falling off, everything is still fine. Okay, so I will check again to see if I have the same thing. So it's so good to check and make sure that your selectors are unique. So if you're using an ID selector, okay, that you don't get behavior. I think there are frameworks that are quite strict when it comes to this. Okay, and of course if you push your work, your design to a remote server, a good number of servers will also kind of highlight this for you by giving you behavior. So your design may not work properly because you haven't managed the selectors properly. So an ID should be unique. Okay, so I think that's it. So if I should come here right now, if I should come here right now and if I should comment this out and check to see what I'm looking at. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. You see, that's the parent right here. Okay, so there is nothing much here. It's just the parent and the children. Okay, it's just text. So I did center and text align. I did center. Okay, you see, so everything is fine. And I increase the font size of this. Okay, we are always available always. So you can proceed to put phone number below here, and Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, logo, and so forth.